Welcome to Stylist Soul Tribe Conversations. I'm your host, Lisa Huff. Over the last 5 years, I've coached hundreds of hairstylists and beauty industry professionals, helping them work their dream schedules exclusively with their dream clientele and earn their dream income, all while fostering genuine connections and lifelong friendships inside the beauty industry. In this podcast, we dive deep into abundance, manifestation, business building strategies, and creating a life that you are truly proud of, both behind the chair and at home. Are you ready to embark on a journey of personal growth, success, and sisterhood? Then hit that subscribe button now and get ready to experience the pure magic of Stylist Soul Tribe Conversations. Hi friends, welcome back to Stylist Soul Tribe Conversations. Today I am joined by a very special guest, probably safe to say our most international, the most geographically, I think, furthest away from me out of all of our Stylist Soul Tribe members. Carin is coming in all the way from Sweden. She's been a member of Stylist Soul Tribe for 3 years now, and she's here today to share a special project, you could call it a big magic idea, that she has been working on and wants to start sharing with industry. It is called SalonLynk. It's a new booking software that she has created, aiming to transform the salon industry and client experience worldwide. Hi, Carin. How are you doing today?
Hi, Lisa. I am so happy to be here with you today and to have this opportunity to talk to you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were on a Soul Tribe call and Carin's been working on this software for a while now. We'll dive into her story. And our last Soul Tribe call, I was just asking her, like, what's the plan for when this launches? And she was like, oh, the software engineer is still working on it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but we got to get this out in front of people, Carin. You got to start getting on podcasts, things like that. I'm like, I'll be the first one. So hopefully you guys continue to see more of Carin and more of SalonLynk. But I just wanted her to tell her story. We were chatting a little bit before we hit record. And I know everybody, you've never been on a podcast before, have you, Carin?
No, first time.
Yeah. Yeah, so everyone gets a little bit nervous coming on, and she was asking me, what are we going to talk about? What are we going over? And I was like, I would just love for you to tell your story. And what I find really inspiring about Carin and so many other people inside of Stylist Soul Tribe and so many people that I have on this podcast is just their ability to take action on an idea that pops into their head. I think it's so common for ideas to just strike us all the time, and very few people actually make them happen. They just think that's like a far-fetched idea. So Carin, why don't you just explain a little bit about your story, your kind of salon setup, things like that, joining Soul Tribe, and then we'll get into the fun stuff, the big magic idea, and we'll dive into SalonLynk. How does that sound?
Very good.
Awesome.
So I started my own business back in 2019.
Okay.
I became the first-time mom 2018, and that's when I wanted to shift things and start to do things my way more. Yeah. So we actually built a salon in my backyard.
It's a beautiful salon space in her backyard. You'll have to check out her Instagram. It is so beautiful.
Thank you. I'm very happy with it. And it's gotten it's private because it's only me there. Mm-hmm. And shortly after I had opened up, COVID hit and people started to cancel their appointments. Mm-hmm. So I looked into the education things and groups and all of that, because that's when everything started to become more available online. And since I'm in Sweden, we don't have a lot of things like that here, at least not what I know about. So it became natural for me to look out of Sweden. Yeah. And I found I did so many things, you know me by now. Mm-hmm. So I'm doing like everything. And I wanted to actually jump on a different course or group program than Stylist Soul Tribe, but they had their doors shut, so they didn't take on any more stylists at that time. Okay. That's when I actually found you.
Oh, and what were you just searching, or how did you?
Don't remember. Okay, I have been thinking about this. Yes, I don't remember. What was the name where everybody gathered and talked? Clubhouse. I was a huge Clubhouse listener back then.
That must have been the first time.
I think I've heard you. Okay. Probably
Can we also just take a second to go back in time and think how wild that was? Like during COVID shutdown, we were all on Clubhouse so much, and how insane to have people from across the world getting on this app to speak in real time with strangers they don't know. But it was such a cool little community. I am like so nostalgic over Clubhouse. I wish that I know it still does exist, but not in that special way that it did. I remember I was doing 75 hard. It's like a fitness challenge back when Clubhouse was really popping, and I would get on it every single night because I had to do two 45-minute workouts a day for 75 hard. I would get on it every single night while I was outside walking in my neighborhood, and I would be like panting, out of breath, so exhausted. People would be like, is that girl crying? Why does her voice sound like that? But I was just walking miles on Clubhouse. I remember one time I was walking my dog and it like saw another dog and it was like barking like crazy, and I was up on stage talking on Clubhouse. I'm like, my neighbor thinks I'm crazy. The dog's going nuts. There's 30 people in this Clubhouse room. It was such a funny time. So I didn't know that's how we originally connected, but that makes a lot of sense.
I think that I can't swear that it was like that, but I think.
Were you in MSM and PvP
Yes.
before? Okay, so I know a lot of people found Hunter, and I'm referring to my good friend Hunter Donia, who's been on the podcast multiple times now at this point. So yeah, you probably found Hunter on Clubhouse and then spoke with people inside of his course and then found your way over into Soul Tribe. Love that.
So that's how and then you had your doors open.
Yeah.
And I was very excited to get in there because people are asking me all the time if I find it to be very saddening to work by myself, if it's lonely. But I feel like I have my tribe girls.
Yeah.
They are family now. It's Soul Tribe 13 I'm talking about.
A special group.
A very special, or I don't know, but for me.
I do know, and it's a very special tribe. Yeah.
So I have my colleagues from another part of the world there, and I love them dearly, and I hope to be able to meet them someday, because I have never met them or you in real life,
which is so crazy because I feel like I know you better than I know a lot of people in my regular everyday life. It's just wild. Yeah.
So they are family to me.
Love that.
So I've canceled most of the things right now, both due to SalonLynk. Yeah. And I've also become a certified high performance coach. So I want to focus on that more. Yep. So I felt like I can't do all of the other education stuff. Yeah. So I have pulled out from a lot of things, but I'm never quitting Stylist Soul Tribe.
Thanks for saying that out loud. That's funny. But no, there's a space and a place for it. And I've been on my own education journey as well. And I've had mentors come and go and come back again. And I've tried new things. And yeah, you're just the time for you right now. You listen to your intuition. And right now you're just staying focused. And that's the thing, is you have a lot of things going on. Carin works behind the chair how many days a week?
I've actually just switched to 3 days per week.
Love that. How many was it when you joined Soul Tribe originally? I'd love to know that.
All of the days when I had clients.
7? Really?
I was so new. So I was like, when do you want to come? I could work whatever day you want to.
You're like, it's in my backyard. Just come.
Yes, just come. I will see you. If you want to come at 10 p.m., it's okay. If you want to come at 6 a.m., it's okay. Because I feel like we all have to start somewhere. And it can't be all perfect the way we want it to be, with a dream schedule and everything from the start.
Until you start to grow that clientele. Yes.
Yep. It could be if I had some other income, but I didn't. This is my real job. And so I did that. So I worked every day.
Okay. And now we're down to 3 days a week behind the chair. And do you love that schedule?
I do, but I've talked to you before. I want to move somewhere warmer. I'm trying to scale back from my behind
even more
business. So this is partly how I figure out, hopefully, how to do it.
Totally. I think a lot of people listening can relate to that too, though. I mean, everybody at some point is going to be looking for an exit strategy. Some people think, no, I can do this until I'm 60, 65. That works for me. I'll just keep raising my prices, scale down my hours as my body can allow it. But there are a lot of stylists, I'm sure, listening to this, in Soul Tribe or not, that are thinking like, yeah, I'd love to eventually do something else. And you obviously know my story and that I had a similar feeling like that. I've hit the point now where I've realized how much being behind the chair still does mean to me. I thought that I'd maybe at this point, once something else was bringing in enough income, I wouldn't want to be there. But I have found the perfect balance of that. But I think a lot of people can relate to that. And it's really inspiring watching you. And I'm really grateful for you to come on and share that is just the direction you're trying to go. And we all start somewhere and you're figuring it out. And hopefully this is a big part of your exit strategy. But I think a lot of stylists can relate to that completely. So tell us a little bit about when the idea initially dropped in, because I'm trying to think back and remember it too. And I will, hopefully you don't mind me sharing this. Carin has tasted a few things. She's known that she's wanted something beyond behind the chair. That's what I call the white space stage. And then again, my lingo is big magic because that was my own story. And I tasted a lot of things before it was Soul Tribe too. I was doing YouTube, I was blogging, I was selling Monat for a little bit. I was trying a lot of different things to bring in another source of revenue, and eventually the Soul Tribe idea came in and it stuck, and I've been growing that ever since. When did the idea initially drop in about this software?
I've had since 2019 when I first
Okay.
started.
Became independent.
Yeah, that's when because back I had a 7 years where I wasn't behind the chair.
Okay.
I was actually inspecting cars. But
Oh.
before that, online booking didn't exist. That's what I had. That's my background.
Okay.
And then when I wanted to open up again, I was really scared about starting online booking because I felt insecure with not being able to put people exactly where I wanted them to be, to have my perfect days and to have everything go good together.
Yep. I think that's a normal fear for a lot of people. Yeah.
And so with all of my courses and business building and everything, I felt, okay, this is a direction. Even if it's scary, I have to try it.
Yeah.
The worst thing that can happen that I will pull it back if it doesn't work. But I actually find it very relieving. It's
Totally.
Can't imagine being without it.
I don't know if I can think of one single person that has overcome the fear of online booking and then went back to not having it all at all. I think there are some people who still like a lot of freedom and they much prefer to pre-book. They much prefer for sometimes their clients to reach out to them. But I don't know. I think everyone is so fearful to initially open it up. You're so scared somehow something's going to glitch. You're going to double book. Something's going to happen. People are going to book the wrong time or something like that. But then you realize this is actually life-changing how much you go back and forth, text messaging, emailing, phone calls. Just send them the link and let them find it themselves. Yeah.
Definitely. So I started with something here. We don't have the same things in Sweden that you have in the States. That's to be like transparent with everything.
Yeah.
So I started to search because I didn't want an open booking. If people can go in, search for my town and hairstylist and then find my face, because I wanted to, because I'm specialized.
And you're in your home, right by your home. Yeah.
That too.
Privacy.
So then I want to, since I took all of the classes and courses, I want to work with lived-in hair only.
Yeah.
And that's why I dropped it.
So you're saying you want to make sure that new clients coming in are in alignment with your services. Yeah.
Yes. And that I want to be able to not have anyone booking.
Anybody.
Or
yeah.
Just anyone.
Yes.
So I want to have the specific persons that are right for that are a good fit, at least.
Absolutely.
If you check everything you can with an online consultation.
Yeah.
So sorry. That's how I started to figure out, because we only back then had, I think, 2 different booking systems here in Sweden, where you could be hidden and only have a booking page, but not be up on their search function.
I want to say that's fascinating because I use Vagaro. I know Square is really popular in the States. I'm not sure if you can get access to either of those in Sweden, but I think back when online booking started, that was like a selling point was, oh, we'll add you to this directory of salons, thinking, oh, this is like a marketing thing for me. But it's interesting. I think more sophisticated stylists would rather let their own intentional marketing do the work for them and be a little bit pickier with the clients that come in.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So that's how I started. And then I wasn't very happy with that first program. So I think I have switched booking software. I think this last time was my third or
Wow.
fourth time.
Yeah.
And I want to say everybody has good stuff. All of
Mm-hmm.
them have good things going on, but none of them do everything I want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we have talked in Soul Tribe 13 about things come up because
Yeah.
we are family and we talk about everything, and including booking problems and problems with cancellation stuff, and having a good, maybe you don't want to have two new extension clients
Back
after
to
each
back.
other
Yeah.
because that will kill your day.
Yeah.
And so I have found that we have very similar problems
Mm.
in the States, as I figure out we also have in Sweden, because I
Yeah.
want the same things that my soul sisters want,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody provides that.
At least not every one software doesn't provide every single thing that you need. Yeah.
Exactly. So that is what we are trying to do. And that's a huge thing to take on.
It is.
And honestly, we probably, for the first release, we will have, I hope, the most of the things that we
Yeah.
are having included.
Yeah.
Um,
Most of the features that you want.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think we will have them there. But then also we want this to be a booking software for salon owners and
Yeah.
stylists. So if anybody has any inputs or so, I have asked around. I've asked in
Mm-hmm.
Stylist Soul Tribe. I've asked and every time I get an answer, I write them down because we
Okay.
take it seriously.
Yeah.
And we want to keep on doing that even when it's there. So if Lisa Huff wants a special feature for your salon, we want to help you accomplish whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes us special when you look at other providers, at least here today, because I have been sending emails, software booking system, and I've actually let them know all of my very good ideas that we will provide already, like a couple of years ago, because I think I've been with them for 1.5 or 2 years.
Yeah.
So I've given them everything. And then when I haven't heard anything back, I reached out to them and I was like, hey, is anything going on? Are you working on, what are you working on right now? And they are always answering me like, we will send you an email if anything gets updated.
Okay. So basically don't count on it. And I just want to say for you, Carin, it probably does give you perspective of how much goes into providing all of these features. So to empathize with those companies, especially once you grow to a certain point, it's probably very hard to make everyone happy. But what I find so cool about just you as a human and what you're doing is you found problems and you were like, there's got to be a way to have a solution for this. So I'm going to seek that out and I'm going to continue. That's like a core value, it sounds like, of this company is continue providing solutions. So obviously you are not a software engineer. Like you had the idea, but what was your next move to bringing this to life?
I actually, for real, thought about becoming a software engineer. I was
Okay,
looking
you're like, I'll just
into
go to school for it. Yeah.
education because I know my way around computers,
Uh-huh.
but I can't do any of that stuff.
Yeah,
And
coding.
to be honest, you know me and everything I have going on. I was like, no, it's not gonna be. I have to be realistic. If this is gonna happen, if it's a big if back
Mhm.
then it's not going to be, I'm not going to do the programming. I have the
Yeah.
ideas and I have I would say I know what the industry wants.
Yes.
And what I can also see that a lot of stylists have the same or similar
Common
problems.
threads. Yep.
Yeah. So I I am married to Tobias, and Tobias works at a IT company.
Okay.
And he doesn't do any programming or so.
Okay.
But he has a lot of international colleagues at his
Okay.
work. And there's a guy, it's a young guy named Cain,
Mm-hmm.
and he is from England. He has lived in Sweden for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked to Tobias about, I want to do something else. I want to do something more. I have free time. And he doesn't have free time right now.
He
So
did back
much.
then, before Carin entered the picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Tobias told him about, my wife is a hairstylist and she has this idea and she would really need, I don't know, do you know somebody? Is it something that you could see yourself being a part of? Or
Yeah.
so he is very optimistic with everything. Like
Yeah.
because I talk to him, we sync weekly mostly.
Uh-huh.
And I come up with new ideas and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm adding this to the pile, but is there any way we could have this little extra thing in? And he's, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So
Love
it's
that.
never like, no, that can't be done.
Love
It's
that.
just some things are more difficult to implement than others.
Yep.
So
Wow.
that's, we can't start with that. We have to go there maybe in a year or so to look at the long run.
Totally fair.
So that's Cain.
So it just happened by fate, it sounds. And so for anybody listening, I think that's just the power of saying your ideas out loud. Like a lot of people will just with these ideas quiet in their head. And it brings me back to when Kim shared her idea inside of Soul Tribe. And you're like, well, I have a connection, reach out to this person. Like you just never know. And she was even scared to reach out because she's, oh, I don't have all the answers. I don't have everything. But it's like, why not just plant a seed? I'm so woo about it. But if somebody connects you with somebody else and your paths cross, I can't guarantee that's going to be a home run hit every single time, but explore that.
Yes. And then I don't know if you remember, but we had the monthly call with Soul Tribe 13.
Yeah.
And it was just me and you there. Do you
Yes,
remember?
and that was another weird timing thing.
So
Yeah,
weird.
especially for Soul Tribe 13. We have some tribes that members are a little bit less active, but I don't know if there's ever been a time that Soul Tribe 13 has just not, and everybody ended up having something come up. They couldn't make it to a monthly call and it turned into a one-on-one with Carin and I. Yeah, and so we got to really dive into that. I agree. That is crazy timing.
Definitely. And that was the kickoff, I think, for SalonLynk, because we really dove deep into that.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that. And which is about the universe and everything happening for a reason.
Yeah.
I really got that time. That was very special.
Wow. Amazing. We keep referring to it SalonLynk. It's spelled LYNK if anybody's looking it up. And of course, I'll have everything linked in the show notes. What stage today, when we're recording this, I don't know when this podcast is going live, but today when we're recording this, it's August 2nd of 2024. What stage are you in right now? I know you're obviously open to feedback. I know there's a link in bio of SalonLynk's Instagram asking for feedback. What kind of solutions do you want out of a booking software? So you're definitely open to that. What stage would you say this developmental process is in, and when can people expect for this to hit the industry and be on the lookout?
We want to have it by the end of the year, hopefully. Okay. That's what we're aiming for. But of course, I can't give you any dates or months even.
That's ready.
We have been working on this for, is it half a year, I think, right now? Cain has been working on it for a long time, and everything that's very powerful as well, to actually start to see. He's showing me on the syncs how everything, okay, now this is working and now we have this in place. So now we have actually started to work. We have a lot of functioning or a lot of functions working, but now we're working on how everything is going to look, more of the design and stuff. So it's very, I don't know. I don't have the ability to say if we are halfway there, but
yeah, it's hard to tell.
I would guess so by now.
Yeah.
But we probably are halfway.
And then can we just touch on this too? Because I know people listening probably wonder this too. I remember when you first told me, oh, I found this guy and he's an engineer and he's going to help me create this, or he's a programmer or whatever. legality wise, how do you have this set up? Because my sirens go off for that. Wait a second, what do you mean? Who's investing into this? What is this going to look like? Like a partnership just always makes me nervous. But in this situation, this could not exist unless it was a partnership. Cain could not come up with this software on his own without your input. You could not come up with this on your own without his programming. Like, how have you aligned this business partnership and what does that look like? Just because I know that's where people sometimes get tripped up.
We are, yes, and we were very mindful of this because from the start, we wanted my husband also to be a part of it because he has a lot of good ideas and inputs. But it's going to be like what you said, legally or legal wise. It's better if it's the more simple it is, and then that we own the company 50-50.
Love that.
So everything that goes in, everything that sometime maybe comes out from it, it's easy to split it up.
Amazing.
And that's how we have set it up.
Incredible.
Yeah. I think we like everything to be simple.
Yeah, and obviously you can't predict the future, but it seems like it's an incredible working relationship right now, and I'm really excited to see. And I feel in a podcast like this, it's very rare to hear somebody's story in this early of a stage. Usually people are not sharing this until it's well created, it's tested, it's out, it's ready for the market. But I think there's something really powerful in that we don't get to see enough as this in between or these early development stages and getting to hear. And I'm even excited for you to watch this video back, Carin, in 5 or 10 years when hopefully SalonLynk is the biggest software in the industry. It's going to be really cool to come back and see what your thought process was around it. And so I'm just a big fan of documenting the journey when you're in it. So I'm grateful for you to even share that. I know it's a little bit of a personal question, what I just asked there about the legalities of it, but I know we just come up with excuses in things to not take action on ideas. And I already know that was in the back of a lot of people's heads because it was in the back of my head too. Thank you for sharing that. If you're not exactly positive when it will be available, we will definitely put SalonLynk's Instagram and website inside of the show notes. Carin is looking for feedback right now, and there will be a link for that where you guys can fill out a form and share everything that you're looking for in a booking software. Is there anything, Carin, that you can explain right now that you know is very important to you starting out that people can expect with SalonLynk once it does go public and hit the market?
It's what makes us different from everything else.
Yeah.
I would say we will have a lot of booking systems today or softwares. They have what you said, they have similar functions. And of course, we will have all of that because you can't do a booking software without, because you have to have the basics of it. That's just simple. And then simplicity is something that comes to mind because we want people or the customers of the salons, not the salon owners, but
the clients.
We want the clients to have a nice experience and a simple experience, to not to have to do 100 clicks just to make a booking reservation.
Yeah.
If that's not what the salon owner wants, because that's another thing. So we will have the possibilities to customize a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's also going to be different if you are specialized as a barber or if you are a stylist who works like me as a low maintenance stylist. I think we demand different things from our booking softwares. Totally. And so, like me, I need the online consultation first.
Yes.
That's one thing because I'm taking my own experiences and what I have a struggle with today. I'm having a lot of subscriptions to a lot of different things because I'm doing forms, I'm doing email, and I'm also doing the booking software.
Yeah, you've got your website hosting, your form place that builds your forms out. Like you said, your email software. Some people pay extra for text features. Some people have their online, obviously your online booking, but then sometimes it's an additional charge for emails and all of these things. And you're right, it becomes a lot for a one-person show. Yeah, behind the scenes trying to do all this.
And then you have to log in to everything, and you have everything in different places. And I know when I started to scale and to do all of this extra things, it was like, oh, what was the name of the thing again where I have my emails now?
Yep.
So we want, or I want, that's one of the things that gonna make us different from everybody else, that we will have that. We will provide that within SalonLynk.
We're hoping to take the form sites, the email
Emails.
marketing, all of the things.
Yeah.
Love.
To have also that, it's from start, we will have it. It's gonna be simple, of course, but it's gonna be functional. And it's, for me as a stylist and as a business owner, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of moving things, and you need to keep track on. It's not just the fun stuff about being behind the chair, it's all of the other stuff.
Yep.
And for that to work and to be integrated within the booking system, that for me is a dream.
Totally.
And when I talked to my soul sisters about it, they were like, if that could work, that would be amazing.
It'd switch, yeah.
Oh, I think that's, and then we wanted to do the waitlist thing, to have that integrated as well, and to have the booking or the software to feel like, to text, of course, text remind, but then if you have a waitlist client for a specific day and specific time, and that becomes available, you as a stylist don't need to do anything. The software
it's automated.
Hopefully do it for you.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
That's probably some advanced tech, because that doesn't exist yet, but that is the goal, is working
That's
towards
Cain.
that. Yeah.
That's Cain. That's where he really, yeah.
Wow.
And then I know something that we already have in place is to have specific bookings, specific times of day. Because as a lived-in hair specialist, I don't do any haircut onlys anymore. But then sometimes when times are, like this month, or the last month of July in Sweden, it's really calm. It's January and July. And I wouldn't mind doing some haircuts, but not over the whole day.
You don't want a day full of haircuts, but you could sprinkle them in. Yeah.
I could have, and I could figure out to have a starting point at the first customer and the last, and nothing in between.
Because the worst thing in the world is, let's say you're working from 10 to 6 and a haircut books at 12.
Yes.
Then we can't get a long 3-hour session, and we can't get a 4-hour session, and we can't get a new extension install in. Yes, I think that is a struggle. And I think that's what really holds people back from initially starting online booking, is that control of, if someone says they want a haircut, even if I have the whole day full, I'm going to give them the first time or the last time, and not in between. And so I love that you're trying to make sure that happens, because that's something that you need to be a booked and busy hairstylist to know that's a struggle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that we have that in place. And then what I talked about before, that's also working if you have a new client with a hair extension installation, and maybe you don't want 2 of them at the same on the same day, then you can add that too for specific services.
One of these a day.
Yes.
And the way that I do my online booking is I just have one new color client session, and it's 4 hours, and it's overkill a lot of the time, but that's how I like to work. I talked about this years ago back when I was on Britt's podcast, and she referred to it as a margin for magic. And so I've always used that like little quote, because I would rather finish a client an hour early, fold towels, tidy up my salon. There's always things I can be doing on my phone. That's just me personally. So if I had a feature where I could mark that there was only one first-time client per day, because I know that it's just mentally and emotionally, it's exhausting. Brand new, putting on, it's showtime. This is a first impression. We really have to wow somebody. It is a different feeling than a client that you've been doing for 10 years. It totally is. So I love that feature as well.
And then we got an idea from, a lot of these are from Stylist Soul Tribe members.
Yeah.
And another one that I hadn't thought about, I can't remember the name of the person who gave me this idea.
But shout out to you. You'll know when you're listening.
Yes, definitely. And it was the negative buffers. Have you thought about that?
No. I don't even remember if I've heard that conversation. Was this in Marco Polo or inside the Facebook group?
It was just, I asked in a post on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
In the group, and I got a lot of answers. So I have written all of it down and summarized it. Yeah. And it's when you have maybe if you have a haircut client that hasn't too much hair, or she always wants the same trim, and if your normal haircut appointments is 45 minutes or 1 hour, and you need 15 minutes less for her, that's gonna
Love
be
that.
yeah,
I don't think I saw that inside I don't think I saw that comment. And I've never heard of that or thought of that. But the moment you're saying this, I'm like, Nikki, my client Nikki, she has such fine hair. She's someone who does wear extensions. Sometimes lately she hasn't even had extensions in. She had me take them out. And I can shampoo, cut, and blow dry her hair in like 15 minutes. It dries instantly. She has such thin hair that boom. But I need an hour for everyone else, because some people with hair like mine, it takes an hour just to blow dry my hair alone. So negative buffer time, I've never heard of that.
Oh, because we have the positive buffer time, of course.
Yes, add 15 minutes for length and density or whatever.
And there we also
amazing.
We have that customizable to the client. So if
once someone is marked with that, all the services you can just take 15 minutes off of.
Yes. Or add if you have very thick hair.
Lisa would just need it. Yeah.
So to all of your times, we can add that too.
Obsessed with that feature.
Yeah. And I think I also wanted it to be like, if I don't want that with the haircut, but I might want it with because, when some people, I'm not naming any names, wants to come in and do some color. They want to know what color you use, how many minutes will they process for, what are you doing now, what will the toner be like?
Yeah,
you have all of these questions, but when they're doing a haircut, they are very
in and out quick. Yeah.
So that's going to be also customizable to if you wanted to set it up like it's for Lisa's hair color, but not the cutting.
I love that feature.
It's a lot of customization if you want it, but also that's the thing too, because not all of the stylists wants all of these things.
Totally.
But me, at least in Sweden, when I talked to the others in Soul Tribe, I realized that it's similar in the States, where if you want an extra feature, you usually have to pay extra for that.
Yeah.
And we are it's gonna be simple. You're having everything with also payment solutions, or you're having just without the payment, but you're still gonna be able to have all of the features, and you can do whatever you want, or as much or as little as you want.
And you're hoping not to have that cost any extra?
No, it's the only thing that we're struggling with right now to figure out. It's the text messaging, because that costs extra.
Oh, yeah. And that probably costs per text message that you send. Because that's what I was going to say. That's if we could all wave a magic wand, we would love. How about we keep it at the $25 a month that everything else costs, but we get all the features. But I have to assume from a tech standpoint, that does get complicated. But again, I think that's the power of just having someone who's in the industry and experiencing these problems themselves, having a big weigh in on what needs to happen here. You're going to be looking out for those common, I wish that I could have this without having to buy another software, purchase another thing, all that jazz. Yeah.
And one last thing that I feel like it's really special to me. I've been in MSM and PVP and everything with Hunter, and he has taught me how to enforce my policies and everything. Like he taught me why do you have a policy if you're not going to use it? So I've been very good at sending late cancellation fees and everything to my clients, but I hate to do that.
Yeah.
But it's not a charity work, it's a real business. So I have to think for the business part. And that's what I also want to do. That's not in place right now. So I don't know.
I'm trying not to say all this out loud, but this is what I want one day. Yeah.
And it's when a client wants to reschedule or cancel within when it's closer to whatever policy you have set up.
24 hours, 48 hours, whatever. Yeah.
It's gonna pop up like here you have to pay this, and then you can do that. So it's gonna enforce your policies for you. So you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to, of course, people can still be upset with you for charging them, but if everything is there, we want the whole business part for salon owners and stylists to be more simple. And
Yeah,
to
it
have
sounds like you're
more
really prioritizing automation too, which is
yeah,
amazing. Because that's the thing is there's the concepts of these things, but then there's the actual enforcing them,
yeah,
not just once, but regularly. You may have an off day and just decide I don't have the energy to even send this invoice or say this to this person. So I love that automation for those tricky emotional things is worked. And I think that's really smart.
yeah. So I feel like it's going to be, I'm very happy to hopefully someday present this
Yeah.
to the world as a finished or up and running, I should say.
Totally. After a few
But
updates, after as it continues to evolve, I think that's going to be really rewarding and exciting. And I'm excited to watch it grow and take life as well. So, like we said, right now, Carin's in the stage where she is very open to feedback. So, we'll leave that link. Is there anything, Carin, you would say, SalonLynk not included? Because you have taken action on quite a few big magic ideas now that I've known you. And I just notice in people that there are just some people who are action takers, and there's some people who wish they were action takers. And I empathize that they aren't, but they just will sit on an idea, will dwell, will want perfection. What is it that makes you just push through and bring things to life and go for it?
I think I realized this just, I don't know, a couple of months ago.
Okay.
It hit me. I listened to a podcast with Brandon Richard,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked about integrity. Integrity for me, because I have had clients tell me, like, you have such a high integrity.
Mm.
And I was like, doesn't that mean what I share with others
Mm.
or tell stuff about myself or so?
Yeah.
But it's that too. So I had to Google it because I
Yeah.
didn't want to ask them.
Yeah.
And it said it's when you say you're gonna do something, you do it no matter what.
Mm.
I have come to the conclusion that's what brings me and my husband. That's our like very
Core
glued tight
values.
core
Mhm.
value
Yeah.
point that we have. I've always been like that. It's if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. And so I'm also careful with what I'm saying that I should do or don't or not.
Yeah.
But as an example, when I was young, very young, I don't know, 16, I think,
Yeah.
I have dreamt about having a piercing, a belly button
Yep.
piercing.
Uh-huh.
And I was so scared of everything with needles. So
Uh-huh.
my mom and dad had said no forever. They're like, no, you can't do that. But in Sweden, when you're 16 years old and you have your parents' permission, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to do that.
I got my belly button pierced when I was 16 too. It's the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
laws here. That's
yeah.
funny. Keep going.
And then my mom was like, yeah, sure, you can go do that now.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you sure? And she was like,
You were
yeah.
almost hoping she was like, no, you can't.
Yes. Yeah. So I had to go do it then. So I
Because that's
even
the integrity. You said you're going to do something.
yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that that's it. That like
Yeah.
I'm doing what I want to do. And sometimes I listen to the podcast with you and Hunter
Mm-hmm.
talking about the woo
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
You know me and all of my angel cards and crystals and
Yeah.
everything. Thing.
Karen's pro woo.
Yes, very. And sometimes you have to realize that it's not what you said, it's not the time for it right now.
Mm.
So a lot of ideas I have kept for a while before starting to, or like I have an idea but I really don't know how to start or what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
The coaching thing was that for me.
Yeah.
I had a coaching group here in
Yep.
Sweden of stylists,
Mm-hmm.
similar to what you are doing, but in
Yeah.
much smaller. And I felt like I wanted to better myself as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and did the coaching program, if you
Mm-hmm.
say so. Yeah,
Yep.
education program, whatever. Yeah, and that took, I don't know, maybe 8 months before I
Okay.
really started to do that.
Mm.
So it's sometimes it's just it takes longer, and I'm okay with that too.
And I'm a quote I love is that action creates momentum. And what I think I find very inspiring about you and why I love coaching you is you will take action. And you did coaching for a little bit. You're not currently coaching right now. There are some people that like that would crush them. They would stop bringing things to life. They would stop creating things. And I'm so attracted to and drawn to and relate to people who just try and go for it and go for it. And there is no failure. There's a lesson learned that teaches you what the next thing is going to be for you. And if there's one thing I wish I could just inject into people who don't have that naturally built into their DNA is just start taking the action. You're going to learn what you need to learn that may have nothing to do with what you're doing right now, but it's going to lead you to where you are. I think people sit stagnant for too long out of fear that it's not going to go how they expect it to go. They're going to look stupid. They're going to fail. Something is going to go wrong. And I hope you know how strongly I feel that about you and want to commend you for having that in you because it's really fun and exciting to watch. And I think you see results and it's going to continue through the rest of your career to reward you from being that way. Yeah. Just have to call you for that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah. And that was what happened when I did that. It's high performance coaching. So it's a very different type of coaching that I'm doing right now. And I actually quit the other thing, what you said, like some things, when I did the high performance coaching education, that it came to me when I had my certificate and everything. It was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Mm. Yes. And I started to think about how should I shift from the other classic coaching to high performance coaching. But then when my students dropped off, it happened by itself.
And I was supposed to. Like the universe was conspiring with you.
No, yeah. And I really felt that so strongly then that it's supposed to happen. And that's with some clients too in the salon behind the chair business. Sometimes they leave, but there's a saying, it's either win or you learn. You never fail. Yep. It's like winning or learning. Yep. I think it's so much about your mindset and totally. Thoughts and everything to have that work for you instead of against you.
I completely agree. And an affirmation that I have to consistently go back to is what is for me won't miss me. And I think you just saying that deep knowing that like you're on the right track. Sure, things are going to be a little confusing, sometimes overwhelming. There's always going to be challenges that present itself that you have to work through. But deep down, intuition, gut, like you just know you're where you're supposed to be. And whenever I'm starting to lose sight of that, what I consistently go back to in my head is what is for me will not miss me. I don't have to fight for it. I don't have to, it is at the speed I'm meant to be learning at, and I'm exactly where I'm meant to be. I love that. We are definitely cut from the same cloth on that.
Yeah.
100%. Amazing. Thank you, Carin, so much for coming on. I love this kind of mindset turn that we took at that. And I was just thinking, man, we need to do a few different podcast episodes together because this is gold. I love this so much. So thank you so much for coming on and for sharing. Like I said, everyone, I will put all the links for all the things SalonLynk inside of the show notes, inside the description. Make sure you give them a follow on Instagram. Make sure you fill out that form with any and all feedback, because even if your feedback feels like silly or like it's not something that Carin hasn't already thought of, just realize that filling out that form, you're getting added to their email list. You're going to know the updates. You're going to be in the loop of what's happening and supporting a big magic idea from a stylist who's just like you, who's brave enough to like bring something to life. And I think that alone is beautiful and something to get behind. So thank you again for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Yes.
For being here today.